Hey guys, Steven Rourke here, back with another video, and today we're going to be reviewing the Ultraman Spark Doll Doragory. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm saying or pronouncing that name correctly, but if I'm not, I apologize. You know, when it comes to me and Ultraman Spark Dolls, as you all know, I either can say the name, I can't say the name, or I don't know, or I forgot the name, or I can't pronounce it, anything really. But with this figure, this was actually, I'm surprised I actually don't remember the name for this, but it's Doragory, as I recently figured out. And this actually was my first Ultraman Spark Doll. The first Ultraman figure I got in general, actually, because as you know, I collect mostly Spark Dolls. Maybe I have like 4 Ultraman figures that aren't Spark Dolls. Almost all of them are Spark Dolls. And this being the first one I got, it's obviously a Spark Doll. Just like many others who might have got Spark Dolls, I actually didn't expect it to be that small once I got it in the mail. But as you know, it is what it is, and this is actually quite a nice figure, I'm not going to lie. As you can already imagine, my favorite thing about this, well, in fact, let's just get into what I like about this since we are doing the pros. And my favorite thing I like about this figure is actually, believe it or not, the paint job. I think that without a doubt, the paint job is the best. As of why, it's probably because the green color really just stands out. It's just the perfect green to capture this figure's design. And the green stands out because not only is it just the green color just is booming out, you have different shades, of course. Here you have like a light green towards the end here at the back of the figure, and then you have it kind of like some light green really up here. I guess it gets a little bit lighter. More here, it's dark green. But in general, and more light green around the hands here and here, it really just shows a lot. But in general, the color in this figure is just phenomenal. The blue, the red, the blue in the face, the red fangs, all of it is just incredibly amazing. This is another one of those Spark Dolls that I actually like the design, and that's why I'm praising it. But I'm praising it only because the paint job they did of it was so accurate. So I think that's way over average in my opinion. So let's move on to the next thing. So the next thing I like about this figure mostly is the detail. I'd like to say the detail is above average, whereas of the paint job was way above average. But I'd like to say the detail is a little bit above average, only because you have these parts of the figure that really kind of like, I guess you could say, are nicely detailed around here. It feels, you know, like it's standing out right here. These bumps, the spikes here, the scales over here. Their detail really is quite nice. Facial detail is kind of just like, it's kind of there. Nothing really to say about it that much. But yeah, I think I'd like to say detail is pretty good. You do have some dots on the top of the head, so there is some stuff there actually in terms of detail that's pretty good. Here, of course, you feel it really is actually kind of prickly a little bit right here. This isn't, but this part is the red claws, I guess you would say, which are covered by like this kind of like a bear paw, except it's green in my opinion. But yeah, this is what it looks like in terms of the details. So I really do like that part of the figure. So, just like most Ultraman Spark Dolls, the last thing on this list, of course, when it comes to pros, is articulation, which is a solid average. It's solid only because, just like I said always, there are chances for it to be more articulated. You could have done it with the head here, move it to the sides, but you do have the arms, which move 360. You have the waist, which I'm going to get into later. But again, 3 pieces of articulation, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But for an Ultraman Spark Doll, that's what you mostly get, so what can I say? It's average. So let's get into the cons of this figure, and I actually have 2 cons, both of them, one being nitpick, one not being a major con, but somewhere in the middle of a nitpick and a major con. I'm just going to get the nitpick out of the way, and the nitpick is, I'm telling you, this is as nitpicky as you can get when it comes to reviews, but I don't know if you could have told this or not. Sometimes I really don't know. It depends on how noticeable of figures you are when it comes to being a collector of anything. Ultraman, Godzilla, whatever. I almost said Ultraman twice. But for this case, I really feel like the head is shifted too much to the sides. It looks like it isn't just straight. And again, that's just me being picky, and you can kind of just like move it up to the head here, but it just bothers me because if you were to have it kind of close, you'd realize it isn't really perfectly straight. So it kind of just bothers me. I guess you could say that's the kind of thing when it comes to this kind of a vinyl, because the way it's shipped in or the way it was made, it wasn't exactly made to stand up perfectly straight. And of course, knowing that you couldn't make any figure perfect, that was probably in the minds of the figures creators by thinking, oh, you can't make it perfect. Why not? Who cares? It's shifted to the side. But yeah, that does bother me a little bit. So that is as nitpicky as you can get. And the next issue I honestly have with this, believe it or not, is the waist, as I was going to get into, since there's 3 joints of articulation. But like I said, I managed to pull it off as an as an average into the pro section because, it's Spark Dolls. You get 3 joints and it has that, so it's average. It isn't more or less. But with the waist, on the other hand, which is a separate issue, I think the main issue with this figure is, believe it or not, the waist in terms of how it can move. It just feels extremely stiff. And similarly to most Spark Dolls, they didn't pay attention to when you move an articulation joint like this, it doesn't connect with this. They should kind of have the paint job in a way that doesn't seem like it's kind of just oddly cut off from the rest of the waist. And I think that's an issue a lot of these Spark Dolls make. And even some Bandai Godzilla figures have. It's not just Spark Dolls, but mainly with Spark Dolls, and that is an issue. But despite that, what can I say? It is a Spark Doll, and it's not supposed to be perfect, nor is any other figure for that matter. But in general, I'm pretty sure, I think it's honestly fair to say that I'm going to rate this a 9.3 out of 10. For a Spark Doll, that's actually pretty good, but if you're thinking in general, oh my god, that's amazing. For a Spark Doll, that's just your pretty good Spark Doll. If it were to be compared to like a Bandai figure or something like that, it would probably be, maybe it's somewhere in the 8-point range. But for a Spark Doll, I'd like to say it's 9.3. But yeah, I recommend you get this if you're an Ultraman fan. It is a pretty neat figure. It fit well with your collection if you're a Spark Doll collector and an Ultraman collector. And I guess that's what came to me because this was my first Ultraman Spark Doll figure. So without a doubt, I think this deserves a 9.3 out of 10. And like I said, I recommend you get it. Without further ado, hope you enjoyed this review. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later, and bye-bye.